Hi there, this is Liviu from The Artist Ways, and today I want to talk to you about why do I think acting is the hardest art form there is to master. Acting is not something you can stay good at. Even the greats have struggled with new parts, even the actors that have won Oscars. When they receive a new script, it's another set of challenges. They might have been good in that character and believable and built the inner life of that person. And when confronted with a new script, a new idea, a new message to convey, they struggle. A painter uses a brush, a musician uses an instrument, a writer uses words, but an actor uses themselves. So following that up, in practice, everyone can practice its art form. The actor cannot, he just needs to perform. Every other art form, if you think about it, is built on repetition. It's built by the fact that, a painter might practice his gestures and make his own vocabulary of colors and of shapes. A dancer will rehearse the choreography. A singer or a pianist will work on the piano for a certain set of hours. But the actor is the only art form in which the present moment is the art form. You're not conveying something that has been integrated fully, because all the other art forms are built on repetition. Acting is built on spontaneity. So everything that you're doing for painting and dancing and so on is really not quite applicable to, it doesn't apply well to acting, which must be spontaneous. I always argued with certain drama teachers about this fast way to compare acting with dancing or with singing, and I never found it correct, because when I play guitar, I know that those songs by heart, and I can sing them well and they feel spontaneous, but it's through the instrument that is the receptacle of the present moment. But when you are the instrument, it's way harder to convey that feeling of presence. I always thought about this, because as a human being, most of us either live in the past or in the future. And in either one of those time frames, there is a certain amount of information required for you to live in that. If you live in the past, you might rewind old memories and think about your childhood and your traumas. If you're in the future, you're thinking about how you're gonna pay next rent, how you're gonna take a vacation, where you gonna go this weekend, and so on. But to be truly present, your mind needs to expand. It needs to have more information than just the past or the future, because there's so much going on around you. And this Stanislavski has this idea of concentric circles. So you sit on a chair and you're aware about your body, and then you're aware about what's going on at 1 meter in front of you, back and both ways, and you build the character on those concentric circles. For instance, if you're Richard III, the actor performing, you might be aware of the stage, of the light, of the ambience, of the energy of the people. But then, as the character, you're aware that it smells a bit like cold stone in here. There is a bit of mist in the air. It's quite dusty. Then there's war outside the walls. You have your family in prison. And that's very hard to convey. It's very hard, because every time you need to build like a fully, completely different instrument. The piano says the same, either you're playing Chopin or Beethoven, on keys. But if you're acting Chopin, Beethoven, or Mozart, they're three completely different people with three completely different ideas about life, about music, about its purpose in the world. And you need not only to understand that intellectually, but to integrate that and then express it in the most full way. And that's very, very complicated. You know, I had an acting teacher of mine say that acting might be the hardest job there is. Of course, there's harder jobs, you know, like if you're somebody who works in the mines, physical labor, or a president of some country. It's very difficult work. I don't argue with that. But I just want to make this exercise of imagination for you, is that what it would require for you to stand in front of people and make them believe you are not who you are, and make yourself believe you are not who you are, and then make them see a completely new life in front of them and see themselves in that life. You know, it might be the most, I think, spiritual art form for the person that does it, because it implies you fully. You are the instrument, you know. You cannot hide from the fact that you have the body that you have, the voice that you have. And I always thought about it. I always saw the actors, you know, if you have a film or a movie set or a stage theater, you know, I always thought that if you have a clock, right, then in on that clock, the mechanical part is the theater, the stage, the lights on the movie set, the director, the lights, the camera, the grip, the makeup, the hair, the so on. It constitutes the mechanical part of the clock. The actors are the time. The clock starts working. That's the actors. They're just a speck of dust in the wind. And I always thought that's very, very beautiful. You know, it's a very nice way to see the work that we do. So yeah, tell me what you think in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe, and see you later on The Artist Ways.